Hello once again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. This week, we are doing Centigrade. This is another IFC film hitting our way. This one's landing August 28th. And it's, you've heard about one room or one location films. This one is very much like that, where a couple gets snowed in a car in the middle of snowy mountains of, is it Norway or where are they at?
Yeah, they're Norway.
Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a survival film of those likes. I think in the States, we're more used to those that try to get across the wagon trains, right? And they get caught in the snow, and it's that whole thing with they turn. Anyway, cannibals. No cannibals here. No cannibals. No cannibals. But this is Centigrade. Let's find out who the cast is tonight. Starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing really good. You guys in the South, have you ever had your gotten up in the morning and went out to go somewhere and your car was frozen shut?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's very rare. It's very rare. Okay. It's happened to me like 2 times.
Yeah. Yeah. In the winter, we have like freezing rain and stuff, and you'll have a can of needle spray. All right. Also with us is Crystal Cleveland. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm great. It's getting cold in here. Ooh,
chilly. All right. Let's find out.
Fake it.
I can't figure it out. Oh, no. Let's find out about the movie we're watching tonight. All right. It is Centigrade again. It's coming from IFC, August 28, 2020. It's directed by Brandon Walsh, starring Genesis Rodriguez and Vincent Piazza. In 2002, a young American couple, Matthew and Naomi, traveled to the Arctic mountains of Norway. After pulling over during a snowstorm, they wake up trapped in their SUV, buried underneath layers of snow and ice. As if stakes aren't high enough, Naomi is 8 months pregnant in their frozen prison. With few resources, a dwindling food supply, and nothing but time, tension, blame, and personal secrets bubbling to the surface. Oh my goodness. Matthew and Naomi realize they must work together to survive in a crippling battle against the elements, hypothermia, disturbing hallucinations, and plunging temperatures reaching as low as negative 30 degrees. Holy cow. It's a fight for survival. It's cold outside. All right. Let's find.
Yeah, sure.
Why did you lead me down that road? You shouldn't have done that. All right, Jeff Mohr, you're up first. What was your first impression of Centigrade?
So sometimes we get into arguments about what's horror and what's not, and this was more of a survival story. It didn't. I guess it had its tension and there was possible horrific outcomes, but I never really got the horror part, I guess. For me, I don't know. This was a bit of a drag. It was not, it seemed long. I kept wanting something to happen. These people are caught in this car. I would have done things entirely different. At the end, there's something. Anyway, I shouldn't go there. The acting is good, I think. It's just that the people were really annoying until there's a point where they kind of actually get down to it. And I think that's probably part of the idea. There was sort of an arc to these people, but yet I didn't particularly like them, which made it hard to root for them, and I thought they were doing dumb things, so it was hard for me to really get behind this. And it is. It's like not only is it's like a one room, like a locked room thing, and it's a really little room because it's a car. Yeah, so I don't know. That's not that's not real positive. There's not. It's well made. The premise and their actions and all that stuff just bothered me. It was hard for me to buy in.
Yeah. I mean, they got to pee in a blanket or a little like towel, right? Now, I got to say, wouldn't that towel be frozen after a while, like a little frozen pee ball? And what are you going to do? I mean, they were in there for 20 some days.
No, they had like that igloo effect, remember? That's
Yeah.
because their water wasn't frozen.
Okay. Well, that's true. Though. Well, yeah. Not everything was frozen, but it was still cold. All right.
It would
Doesn't
stink,
matter.
though. That's what's gross. It would stink.
There's something worse that would stink even more, and they never really touch on that thing. No,
Thank God. We don't need to know that. No.
And then
I don't think they had enough food to have that be a problem. But
they had to go at least once when they were.
Yeah, I mean, all right. I mean, they did have food at first.
From the food that they had eaten before, even, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We don't have to get into the technicalities here. Let's find out what Crystal Cleveland thought. What is your first impression of Centigrade?
So obviously, I completely agree with Jeff on this. It was a well-made movie. It was shot very well. I think the acting was good. I think the characters were what they were, which I don't know that they were able to have much of an arc. There's only so much you can do in a vehicle literally the entire time of this storm. I think this would have been more successful as a short than a full-length film.
Interesting. Yes.
Yeah. Because quite frankly, it was unfortunately a little tedious to watch. I tried to stay focused and I had to watch it twice because it was difficult to stay focused on it. There wasn't anything compelling enough to keep me interested. And they tried, and it was a valiant effort, but it just didn't do much for me.
Didn't do much for you. Oh, no. All right. Well, here's the funny part of the story. I was actually very engrossed and riveted. I actually like this quite a bit. I do agree with you guys that the two characters were a little annoying, but being stuck in this scenario, you gotta those issues are just gonna come out, right? You're stuck 24/7 for 20 days in a tiny little box. I mean, it's like a prison.
That's funny. It's kind of sounds like now, doesn't it?
I might be relating. Maybe I'm relating too much. Oh no! Oh, I'm gonna have to go see my psychotherapist. All right. No. So I it felt like, oh man, like, do you dig out and then try to wade your way somewhere, or do you stay in there? Do you bust through the top and risk all the snow coming in? Do you go to the side? What do you do? How do you get out? You don't know, right? And that was the thing, is you don't know what's outside. You don't know what's the noise is. Every once in a while you would get a shot of the outside. You get the shot of you can just barely see the roof, right? You just get the outline of the car occasionally, or when the snowplow was coming by, just feet away from them. And I would say that at that point, it took a little away from me. I probably would have enjoyed it even more if we never really knew what was going on out there, and we had to decide what it was from just the sounds and everything. Like at one point, you hear something walking, and I'm like, "Is that animals? What is that?" And it would have been interesting to kind of always to have a little bit more of that, to really trying to figure out, what am I hearing? Am I hearing people? Am I hearing cars? Am I hearing more weather? So they ended up focusing a lot on the tension, the relationship tension. And I see where you guys are going. That kind of got tedious. I'm trying to think, was I actually rooting for either one of them? I don't think I was. That's interesting. Maybe I didn't like this as well as I did. You're making me rethink this whole thing again. But anyway, I thought that the direction was really good, because you're in this really, it's constrained, right? You've got, it's enclosure of, just inside of this SUV. You've got front seat, back seat, and the SUV part, and that's it. And they make the use of that. You feel the claustrophobia, you feel the space. And I thought they did a real good job of that. They did a good job of representing the snow on the outside, where you could just barely see light coming in. You just get enough that you're not, that the surface is there, but you still can't get out. And I don't know, maybe I'm claustrophobic, so maybe that appealed to me, or had me on edge. Some reason this one connected, and I'm just going to stop there. It connected for me, and I liked it. I think a little better than you guys did.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I like I said, it's well made. I feel like the acting was good. I feel like there's only so much you can do with a movie like this. There's no supernatural aspects which are going to be able to create more drama. There's only drama within the vehicle, and that is only within the couple and the fact that they have an incoming baby, which the fact that they're in this situation just is a whole nother matter that truly pisses me off, to be honest with you, as to how they got themselves. It's irresponsibility mixed with a boring story.
Yeah. Well, it is based on a real event in 2002.
Right.
So.
Irresponsibility mixed with a boring story.
Yeah. And I think they touch on
like my statement stands.
I don't know if it was a boring story, but I do think they touch on, what they were doing, their the scenario with their, she's the writer.
No, I know
right?
why she's there. That's irrelevant to why a almost bursting pregnant mother or soon to be mother would go to Norway, where she apparently has no idea what the conditions are like there, for a book tour at this time where her husband would be driving through. There's just so much that is just, why would you put yourself in that situation?
Right.
It's beyond me. Just, I mean, and if that was going to happen, a lot of times people will get drivers for that, like people who know the area and know whether they should be driving through this. And I'm sure a driver would have advised them a better. It's just, whoa.
There's a lot of things that just shouldn't have happened.
Well, I think it showed on both their parts that they were both very irresponsible in general. So yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was done.
And I can't get into the details or I'll give too much away, but there was just stuff I thought they should have done that they never did that just seemed really obvious to me. And if they would have dealt with it and said, here's why we're not doing it, maybe. But there is kind of an igloo effect because they're in the car's covered with snow that provides insulation. And so that is a good place to stay. Yet there were anyway. And if there would have been some kind of ingenious thing that they did, right, to help them survive. But the only thing that kind of surprised me was how she stays alive.
Oh,
what she ends up eating,
yeah.
And I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that coming. That had left my mind.
Yep, you got to make a tough decision.
Yeah, well, no, not that hard, I don't think. But anyway, you get hungry.
Like,
so.
It's like once you have a baby
not
too.
Talking cannibalism.
No, not really.
Oh, Doc.
Not really, but kind of.
Little cannibalism.
So, I mean, I guess the thing is, once you become a mother too, I feel like that changes you completely. And I think that gives you more of a will to survive. I think she definitely wanted for her and her child to survive more. I can understand that aspect of it. But I mean, oh my gosh, you're having your first baby at this point in your pregnancy. For one, doctors tell you not to fly during that time anyway. Okay, so I mean, there's just so much that I just go, why were you in this situation? Why are you in Norway, in a completely other country, when you're supposed to be close to giving birth? I'm sorry. It's just so irresponsible. I just can't handle it. I can't handle it. It's that irresponsible to me. That's why I think the story became null and void to me, because I'm like, natural selection.
No. Okay. So you just weren't sympathy. You just didn't have any sympathy for yours.
I've been
at all,
pregnant.
or-
I've had children, and I would never put myself in that situation. My first pregnancy, I would be dead in that situation because I'm not able to have children naturally. She doesn't even know that, whether she could or not, because
That's
she's never
true.
had a child. There's just so much that could go wrong. So no, I don't have much respect for people who, she has a life growing inside of her. She needed to care more for her child than for herself. That's
Right.
all.
Yeah, well, they touched on that a little bit with the pills that she was taking in case of an emergency. But I think there was
that too. I was like, what? Are you
Well, she
Yeah.
obviously had some sort of
real issues?
mental issues, some sort of
Mm-hmm.
that she was trying to go without the pill
Mm-hmm.
right.
for the baby's protection.
Yeah, they were definitely talking about secrets. You know, both of them had their secrets, and his secret was kind of sad.
Yeah.
But
what's sadder is what kind of relationship did they have where he felt like he couldn't tell her? So that's what the whole movie is about. It's about this couple and their relationship.
Right.
And the fact
Right.
is, I just didn't care enough about them. That's
Yeah.
what that's really what the base of this story is. I just didn't care about them.
Yeah, it depends on that. It
Unfortunately.
depends on you being empathetic.
Yeah.
And sympathetic to them.
For me to be empathetic towards someone, I need to feel like they have something worthwhile to be empathetic about. And I just feel like when you go and you just make all these poor choices, I don't respect you.
Right.
I just don't respect you.
Yeah. Now this is Jeff.
Sorry.
This is classified more of a thriller than it is a horror film. I
Yep,
think
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, just the scenario is probably the horrific part of being
Mhm.
Trapped, which puts it in our genre, on the fringe, if you will, because there's no sci-fi, there's no supernatural.
I will, shockingly, I'm going to defend this a little bit as a horror movie in a way, because
I'm shocked.
if I had to be in the same situation, lying next to the same person, that would be pretty horrific.
I was just thinking about that scene. That was a
Pretty
good scene.
horror. It's
Yeah.
pretty horrifying. Yeah, mentally it's disturbing, Yeah.
All right.
someone
Well,
died.
yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
minor spoilers.
Got the
All right.
little elements.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap this up. We'll give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene for Centigrade. But before we do, if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe below. Hit the like button, hit the little bell so you'll be notified, and leave us some comments. We love comments. The comments we're getting on our past episodes are so amazing. Thank you so much for leaving comments. And if you're a new listener, watcher, viewer, YouTuber, whatever, we love you. Thank you for joining us. But now is the time when we give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and we always pick a favorite scene. And we're going to start off with Crystal Cleveland. Take it away.
Oh, we're going to start off with me. Okay, well, we did Jeff first.
No,
But if you want to go with me, that's fine.
Yep, we're doing
Okay,
it.
so because the movie was well made, I'm going to give it a 2.5. Actually, I
Okay.
think a lot of people will probably like this. For me, I have a lot of issues with character study when the characters do silly things. That's on me, not anyone else. Like I said, I think people will enjoy this one. My favorite scene was when she didn't put the cat back on the water and he spilled it, and just the aftermath of that just shows how volatile the situation was and how difficult it was. I really felt that scene. I feel like everything that they went through seemed real as far as their arguments and stuff, and that one really kind of brought it home for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, but that was probably the one that best illustrated the tension.
Yeah,
I think, I agree with that too. And it's so simple, right? It's so simple and easy to achieve. Jeff Mohr, sir, your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene for Centigrade.
I'm the same way. I think it's well made. I think there's people that are going to like this. It just hit me the wrong way. The particular situation, the decisions of the characters, etc. Not that those aren't the valid decisions, but I just kept thinking, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? So it took it away from it for me. But it is a tense situation, and there are a couple of very horrific scenes in it. I'm going to give this a What did Crystal say? I'm going to go. That's why you had Crystal go first. I'm going to go 2.25, and that's more me than, it's probably a 3 made movie and about a 1.75 for me on
that's fair. Yeah.
Story, etc. So I'm gonna kind of split the difference. But I'm not saying don't watch it. People. I think people will enjoy this. And my favorite scene is, I'm going to pick the scene I already mentioned. The meal she has late in the movie. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought you said Snorri. That's instead of story. I'm just going to say that's what I heard.
I might have.
All right. For me, I like this a little bit better than you guys because I think I felt the claustrophobia. I felt like if I was in that position, that situation, what would I do? I definitely would be squabbling a lot. It would be unbearable to be stuck with somebody. Especially if there's any kind of history or tension between you, because everything would bubble to the, it would ignite left and right. Because there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere you can't blow off steam. You're stuck. It's tense. You're always on your edge. And I thought they captured that really well. So I was really, that really just kind of worked for me. And I rolled with that. The characters were a little annoying in this situation. Like, how'd you get there in the first place? But, and they touch on that a lot at the beginning of the movie. They keep going through that a lot about falling asleep and pulling over and, being in the snowstorm. It's, if you take it, I guess I gave it a little bit more of a pass because it actually did happen. So I was like, well, it's not like it's fantasy. It really happened. This, people make mistakes, and this is the kind of mistake these particular individuals made. Natural selection or not, it's a little rough.
It sounds hardcore, but
yeah. So I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite IFC movie. There's a lot of IFC films that we've been watching here in the past couple of years, and there's a lot of good ones. This is not high on the list, but it's definitely a good one, and it's definitely one that I can see. I understand why IFC is behind this because it is worthy of it. It's really well made. Cinematography is good. It's got a lot of good production value. The performances are fantastic. The location, the when they're out of the car, when they eventually do get out of the car, it's right there. It's totally you totally believe they're stuck in this car. Whatever effects they did with this location, however they achieved it inside this car, you totally buy that it's surrounded by snow. I don't know. I'm going to give it, say 3.25. 3.25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
That's a choice. Oh man, my favorite scene though is I think I'm going to go with our guy here, right? What was his name? Such as Matt, right? Matt and Naomi.
Matt.
So Matt is he kind of knows that he's wasting away, right? And he doesn't have, and the baby's already been born, and he gives up his coat and he gives it to her and says, I'm fine. I'm working up a lot of heat, and he knows, and we know because we're watching that he's on death's door, and he's desperately trying to scrape the way to get out of the window. Once the baby's born, he changes his tune a little bit about getting out of the car. And I don't know, you could see it in his face, and I thought it was really well done. And kind of like, oh, I know where this is going. And a little bit of dread, a little bit of horror of that knowing. So that's a bummer. Sorry.
Yeah. It's a sad story. It's just sad. It's sad.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our review for Centigrade, coming your way August 28th, 2020 from IFC. Check it out and let us know what you think down below, because we'd love to hear from you. Or if you're listening on the podcast, reach out to us, feedback at gruesomemagazine.com. We want to hear from you. And also make sure you subscribe there as well. So everybody that's watching, thank you so much. Crystal, Jeff, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks for having us.
All right, let's say good night.
Come up with something.
Good
Night.